Hello, this is Fred Callaghan, and you are listening to the Fulham Focus podcast.
Fulham.
Hello and welcome to the Fulham Focus podcast. My name is Jmac, your host. Spring is here and also in our step because this season is finally fussing over. Yes, like the One Ring, the season of 2018-2019 can now melt in the fires of Mount Doom, or in our case drown in the deepest depths of the River Thames. Forget the result, forget managers for a few days, my friends, and relax, light the barbecues and live your lives until the window opens Thursday 6th of May and discover we've signed Glenn Murray on the free. But anyway, thank you very much to Fred Callaghan for opening the show. Fred made 336 appearances for the club between 1964 right up until his retirement in 1974. The fullback born in Fulham remained with the Whites his whole career and saw it all. From great escapes, back-to-back relegations, promotion back to the second division, not to mention playing alongside some of Fulham's most iconic players. Fred still attends matches at the Cottage and has remained a big part of our heritage. We are honoured to have him introduce the show. Check out Danny's Q&A with Fred, looking back at all of the above and much more. Visit our website at fulhamfocus.com. Fred Callaghan, we salute you, sir. All right, I have two hobbits with me right now. I have Mr. Boisclair and Marty. Let's do this.
Fulham.
All right, guys, now time for some Newcastle reaction. Thank you. That's in the bin. No more about that. So we are not going to talk about the match because I cannot be bothered. So we'll talk about something else. We'll talk about maybe something slightly... We could talk a bit about the match, actually. We could maybe talk about Harvey Elliott really quickly. I just thrown my notes away. Didn't think that through. Marty, how are you, mate? And what did you think of Harvey Elliott's appearance? He looked quite special for us.
Yeah, promising. For the 15 minutes I believe he came on for, he did a nice little bit of runs and stuff, some nice little short passes, kind of promising for the future, sort of something to be excited about, while you've got another player that possibly may be leaving, who is one of our youngsters. We may have a potential new one in his place, possibly. So, something to be excited about.
Yeah, what would you say his position is, Marty? Would you say is it a centre mid, or is it sort of almost slightly more attacking than that?
It's hard to say because at the moment, the things he did, I would say, was more of an attacking sort of player. Interested to see how he integrated into Scott Park, if we see him anymore, of course, of whereabouts he'll play him. We always thought Ryan Sessegnon was obviously a right back. It was a position he played, and in the end, he was better on the right side, on the wing. So yeah, let's see what kind of position he adapts to. He's only 16, so.
Yeah, exactly. Danny Boy was saying to us he did this amazing overhead pass to Sessegnon in the game, and Sessegnon unfortunately couldn't actually materialise from it. Mr. Boisclair, what are your thoughts on Harvey Elliott's appearance? It seems to be one of the only good things about the game. We'll talk as little about it as possible.
Yeah, it's nice to see him get some time on the pitch at Craven Cottage, to be honest. He had an appearance at Wolves last week, but I don't know if he even touched the ball at Wolves, but obviously there was a lot of hoo-ha about it because he became the youngest ever Premier League player. But yesterday it was good to see him get a bit more time, and yeah, he did well. And I think he'll feature for us next season as well, because we've got a history of trusting younger players who are brought on and given a chance. They don't just get a chance; they integrate into the team. Look at Sessegnon and people like Matthew Briggs was the previous youngest ever Premier League player, wasn't he? And he had a few games for us as well. So I think we'll see Harvey Elliott on the bench next season quite a bit, and potentially if we're winning games, then it'll be a good environment for him to come on and develop. Yeah,
it's a big old potentially in capital letters there. Marty, so on to you really quickly. I'm just interested in your thoughts on this. So we mentioned Ryan Sessegnon. It seems to be the general consensus now, judging by the way the players reacted when he was subbed off, that Sessegnon is pretty much gone. I mean, we're hearing rumours that it's pretty much an all but done deal. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, do you think he's pretty much out of here?
Yeah, it's always horrible to see a player go. Even in the likes of Sean Davis when he went to the exact same team that possibly Sessegnon will be going to, unfortunately. I mean, if you've been talking to many Tottenham fans via social media, you think the deal was done September last season or so on. What can we deny Ryan Sessegnon, to advance his career? It would be nice for him to sort of maybe be loaned back if he does go to Tottenham. To be honest with you, Ryan Sessegnon hasn't exactly set the Premiership alight, so I'm going to be intrigued to see how he does if he does go to Tottenham. Are they going to do the potential of buying him and then giving us back on loan, or will he be another Pat Roberts like going to Man City, who just, where's Pat Roberts now? I believe he's somewhere in Belgium or Holland. I can't remember where he went. Did all right in Celtic, but I think, anyone could do well at Celtic, including us three. So, yeah, I'll be intrigued to see what's going to happen, really. It's a shame, but it definitely comes across that will be his last game in a Fulham shirt.
Right. Mr. Boisclair, what do you think? Do you think Sess, I mean, if the option was for a loan back, would you take it? Or do you think actually if you don't want to sort of develop a Spurs player now, even though Sess is originally one of our own? And do you think you'd be all right in the Celtic team?
I don't think I'd be all right in a Celtic team. I've got Toblerone feet. I think Sessegnon, I don't think it's that much of a foregone conclusion that he's off.
Okay.
I don't know. I haven't seen any of the rumours apart from, the obvious ones that are always there. I haven't seen any fresh rumours. But I can't see why he would want to go to Spurs at the moment, at this time in his career, because he's just had a bang average to poor season in a poor Premier League team with us. And his stock isn't as high as it once was. Certainly not this time last year. So who's going to part with a lot of money? I think he's got a year option on his contract as well, I believe. So, it's a 2-year contract he's got. And it's still going to take a lot of money for that to be broken. So I don't know. I think he could go to Spurs and go and sit on their bench, or maybe not even get on their bench. Or he could stay here and have another good season in the Championship, get his stock back up, and then, see where he is this time next year. I don't know. I can't see the Spurs thing happening, but I'm rarely right, so who knows?
Fair enough. And, it's interesting because the thing is with Sess, either if he does stay, he needs to sign a new contract, because what I can imagine is the lip-lipping of Daniel Levy right now is probably, I can't imagine him wanting to pay 25 or the 30 million plus that everyone or every Fulham fan is expecting. Daniel Levy is a very shrewd businessman, and he would love to just probably Sessegnon to keep his contract going until he could probably get him on a free. So who knows? I don't know what's going to happen there. I mean, maybe the rumours of Juventus might play along. I'm not sure. So, Scott Parker was appointed officially just a few days before this game. Well, actually 2 days before this game. And we lose 4-0. Do you think there is any potential of an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer curse there, Marty? Or is it just, bad luck in this case? I don't know.
Oh, God, I hope not. Okay, so I think it's safe to say in the legendary WhatsApp Fulham Focus group that there's been mixed feelings on Scott Parker's, hire. I think the easier option for Scott Parker to be hired is due to that he's been with the team the whole season. Yeah. So there's the kind of the players, what players he wants to bring in, who needed to be brought in. Stuart Gray came back, hey, that was good news. Plus, I don't know, for me, it's very, very difficult because I really don't want a Kit Simons situation happening again. And it really does feel like the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer effect with the game yesterday. But I think it's a bit harsh because the thing you've got to say is it's not Scott's team. So let's see what, Mr. Khan does in regards into backing and who he retains. The thing that concerns me, and I think it's been pointed out many a times, is he's been out-coached in 3 games now by certain substitutions and formation changes. And we've seen Kit Simons get caught out on that. And this is the problem when you bring in somebody who has no experience in regards to being a manager. So will he be here next season? I hope so. Let's see. I mean, at the end of the day, we have to support the manager, whomever it is. But luckily, it's not Neil Lennon, and I can't even remember who the other guy was that we were linked to. But it's better
Steve
than
Clark.
those two. And obviously, I know a certain Houghton has been sort of removed, no longer a Brighton manager. I would rather Parker than Houghton because his style of football is very, very dull. But we don't really know what Parker's style of football is. So it's going to be interesting and fun, and a fun transfer window. Yay. So let's see what happens.
Well, it's interesting because, Parker keeps saying recently in interviews and segments of, text on the Twitter sphere that he's just saying how he wants to develop an identity and it all sounds kind of quite empty-ish words slightly because we know this, we've been here before and we already had an identity only about, less than a year ago with, 23 games undefeated. So it is a tricky one at the moment. And yeah, Matt, I just wanted to see what your thoughts were on the Chris Houghton situation. Already there are a lot of people today thinking, oh, we should have gone for him. He's won the championship twice with 2 different teams or definitely got promoted. What are your thoughts? I mean, you'd still pick Scott Parker over Chris Houghton if that hypothetical imaginary situation existed?
Yeah, I'd pick Parker. I'm not a massive Chris Houghton fan. I think Brighton have made a mistake by letting him go though, because you've seen it before with Charlton when they stuck with Alan Kirbishley, and then when they tried to move on to the next level and got rid of him, they got relegated. So I think Brighton will really struggle. I'm glad Houghton won't be coming to Fulham. I'm pleased that Scott Parker's got given the job. I think he did enough in the few games that he had to warrant being given an opportunity. He says all the right things. At times we played some good football. We kept a couple of clean sheets along the way. And yeah, he deserved his shot. What that's the other thing I was going to say was that I don't think this situation is comparable to the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer one, because when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was caretaker manager at Manchester United, he was winning all the games. And then as soon as he got given the job, that's when things started to go slightly wrong for him. But with Parker, he's had a mixed bag, but we do look better. We do look more solid, and players are playing in their favoured positions. He's given people like Harvey Elliott a chance. And, you go back to Ranieri when he was really messing around with the formation and the personnel he was using, as was Slav, actually. I don't think either of those managers ever worked out their best 11. But Parker's come in and he said, I don't think Seri and Kearney work together, so I'm not going to play them together. And if that means leaving out Seri, who's a £30 million player, then I'll just leave him out. And Kearney's been in the team. I don't know if Seri's been injured the last couple of games, but I don't even think... Was he on the bench yesterday? I don't think he was.
I don't think he was, no.
So I think, he's more than... He's got a backbone, and he will make these decisions, and he won't try and accommodate everybody. And I like that about him. I think the style of football he'll play will be attacking. And I think that Parker and Tony Khan and the recruitment team at Fulham have got to work very closely together to make sure that they bring in players that fit the style of play that we're going to be playing under Parker. Because we talked about it so many times on this podcast in the past, where Ranieri was brought in and he was a name rather than somebody that was brought in to get the best out of the players that we had. And that's where that failed. So hopefully Tony Khan and his dad will learn from the mistakes this season and we'll have a better season next season.
Yeah, well, here's hoping. And going to, what Scott Parker's trying to do, when maybe with the transfer window opening in about 3 or 4 days' time, it will be interesting to see, because even though we lost 4-0, I'm talking about the game, I said I wouldn't do it. But anyway, even though we lost 4-0, I've heard that the score does flatter them. Unfortunately, I watched the highlights. I wasn't actually in town. But I've heard the scoreline does flatter them, even though we were absolutely toilet, I've heard. But the thing is, our possession is 68.1 compared to their 31.9. Okay, that doesn't really mean much, but we had more shots, less on target, but, we had a huge accuracy in passing, attacking. I mean, we just got proper Rafa Benitez did in that game.
I think it was just perfect. It was just a perfect result. It sums the season up perfectly. We conceded a lot of goals. We conceded some shit goals. Rico was back to his worst. And we just looked utter dog shit. And we deserved everything we got yesterday, regardless of the possession on shots and whatnot. We just looked crap. It's a perfect way to sum up our season. But let's clear out the loan players, clear out all the crap, and let's get some new players in and try again next season.
Yeah, I mean, I've never felt happier actually that this season's over, and the 4-0, I didn't care. We're all so numb from this now anyway. Marty, do you think that this this result could actually be a blessing in disguise in some ways for how we want to act with the transfer window being open and just make business a lot quicker than usual? Because the Championship, believe it or not, even after one season of being there, is even more competitive than it was, and also just generally, I mean, I've noticed that we've already extended some contracts from players that was mentioned in the program. But just what are your thoughts on actually the benefits that could get us to motivate ourselves to be quick in the next season?
I don't know about you, but I mean, I know the Premiership is the top level that we got to aim for, but I absolutely love the Championship. I mean, even after we left, I was keeping a close eye on the Championship. It's so competitive from top to bottom. The teams that go up from League One are fighting for their lives to stay up. The teams that have been relegated from the Premiership have still got parachute payments coming through. So there's a lot of money in Championship, a lot of good managers and a lot of good players. It's really difficult. I mean, a lot of people you see on social media will be like, oh, we've got people like Anguissa, he's going to be great in the Championship, we should do all right. For me, it's just like, let's just see how we start. I mean, I believe Norwich finished 14th, I think, last season, and they finished top. Yes. So anyone can win the Championship. That's the thing is, it just depends how your team is set out. Sheffield United was always coming close. They were knocking on the door. They finished second. And now you've got 4 teams. Now, Aston Villa, if they go up, it would be an utter nightmare for all of us if they go up. We'll be like, look, we're in there and we're out, which this is why I would hate to see them going up. But in regards to what you were talking about, the players, I'm sure Scott Parker has probably said, look, this is what we need, right? These players do not play well. We need to strengthen in defense positions. We need to have midfield, your strikers. This is your strike force. If it's true that Mitro's going, we've got Rui Font and AK-47 up front. Well, that's sure going to send fear into a lot of Championship strikers, basically. So I'm sure in some ways, as you say, I mean, it was perfectly put out by Matt there. Seri being left out of the team, he knows what needs to be sorted. Let's not have these sort of glamour signings. He's probably saying, look, this guy's really good in the Championship. This guy's proven he's not getting in the Premiership team, but I think he'll be great. He'll be a great asset. It's probably a blessing in disguise that we got absolutely ripped to shreds. I mean, Matt was right. We were absolute pony. I mean, we really were kind of ready for, I don't know, almost like they were all doing late night feedings with Tom Cairney with the baby or something. I don't know what was going on. There was just seemed like they were ready to start their summer holidays, thinking they were going to be off to Las Vegas like last time at the end of the Championship season with Tony Khan. As I say, it's going to be interesting to see. We're going to have speculation. We're going to have the agents are saying, oh, it's a close signing of someone coming in like the Diego Roland. The transfer window is the best and the worst. We're going to see some players that we just literally don't want to see go. And there are some players that you literally go, God, I would love to see him in there. And I really, really hope that Mr. Khan and the scouting team get this correct, because he's never admitted put his hands up and said, oh, I got this wrong. We made a mistake. I spent too much money. He's basically still got the job. And I'm hoping it's his last chance saloon to make sure he gets it correct. And I don't think any of the fans will be forgiving for him if he doesn't get it right, or at least competitive in this tough Championship league.
Well, that's great. Mr. Boisclair, if I gave you just a sort of, if you're Tony Khan in this situation, just try and pretend, what if there was a player in the Championship right now that you'd like to be your first signing for Fulham as a promotion push? Who would you potentially like to sign or see in a Fulham shirt next season?
I quite like. I think we could get the guy from Brentford, Morpay. He's got. I think he must have close to 30 goals this season. And if you're just judging it on somebody who can put the ball in the back of the net, and I think there'd be a lot worse players, and I think he'd come as well. Don't know how much money he'd cost. I don't know, no idea what his contract's like at Brentford or anything, but I think Fulham are obviously a much bigger club than Brentford, and it would be a step up for him. So even if he did score that goal against us in injury time last season, that almost cost us very, very dearly. But yeah, I think he'd be a decent signing.
Yeah, me too, actually. I mean, Brentford being Fulham being a big club. Have you seen the skeleton of Brentford's new stadium coming up? That looks quite nice, doesn't it?
Yeah, shithole.
yeah. We'll talk about Riverside stuff a bit later, actually. But yeah, absolute shithole. In my opinion, for who we should go for, made this known on the group anyway beforehand. But I think Nick Powell from Wigan would be an interesting signing. He's available on a free at the end of the season, and due to the fact that if Kearney was injured, we always suffer, and I think Powell would be able to actually potentially fill that role quite nicely. His goal ratio is fantastic for the position he is. I mean, I think he usually is a number 10. He certainly was for Crewe Alexandra, and then that was just before Alex Ferguson picked him up with Wilfried Zaha. Then they basically let him back out again. Marty, a player, you love the Championship, a player that you would like if you were Tony Khan for next season, sir.
Well, I'm going to go in the striker route. I mean, there's two strikers that have lit it up in the Championship. It's obviously if we can dig our hands in the wallet to put them up. One of them is Tammy Abrahams. Absolutely tore us apart with Bristol City, doing the business with Aston Villa. For some reason, can't walk into a certain team he's with at the moment, so they're not giving him an opportunity. They're going to want some money, but will he want to go down? But we know that level is good for him. And another player who got sent off unfairly for his second yellow card is the ever-linked every player, every time, every season, Dwight Gale. Two players. If we lose Mitro, we're going to get a substantial amount of money. Why not buy in two players who have two different contrasting styles who are guaranteed goals in the Championship? If the one thing we need to do in the Championship is score goals. And you look at Norwich and all the teams that are up the top, their goal-for ratio is excellent. Now, I know defensively we're not good, and Rico sounds like by his tweet that he's on his way out. We probably may get bets back by then. So strengthen the defence, make sure you've got a lot of firepower up front, and we definitely got creativity in midfield.
Yeah, perfect. I'd still actually like a Sumbalonga in some ways. I mean, I've just had this image of a Sumbalonga and AK up top and just absolute mountains. I guess your striking partnership would be brilliant.
Imagine having that written on your shirt with AK-47.
I know, right? I mean, that's the thing. But I mean, it would take a lot of, a lot of kiss assing from AK-47 to come back in that team for next season. But we'll see. So, all right. Good suggestions. Love that. So what we'll do now is just quickly talk about, we mentioned the skeleton of Griffin Park and the new one that's coming up. We don't want to talk about Brentford. It's not Brentford show. But Riverside stuff. Mr. Boisclair, were there notes in the programme from Shahid Khan? Because there's been a lot of speculation, there's been a lot of worry, a lot of fear. We're going back to Loftus Road for a season. And everyone's freaking out and saying stuff like, oh my God, if the Riverside goes down, where are we going to put the cameras? What did Mr. Khan say in his programme notes? I mean, do you get the sense that actually we're not moving to Loftus Road and the Riverside is going ahead this month or so?
I don't think we're moving to Loftus Road. The Supporters Trust had their AGM last week, and I believe that it was talked about at that meeting, and there was no mention of Loftus Road. But I think they were talking about moving the dugouts to the Johnny Haynes stand, so there'll have to be some reorganisation there because they'll have to potentially take some seats out to fit the dugouts in.
Yeah. Or they all wear like crap, crash helmets or something.
Yeah.
If they have the dugout on the side.
Well, if AK-47 comes back, I think the people behind the goals are going to need them as well. But anyway,
that's right.
So I hadn't really thought about the whole dugout thing before, but of course they're going to have to move because they're not going to just sit in the middle of a building site, are they? So that would be weird, seeing the players warming up on the other side of the pitch and having the dugouts there. I think it's going ahead. Looking at his notes, let's just see. Blah blah blah. As summer approaches, we'll soon be sharing the latest and more complete news on the Riverside Stand project. We've made excellent progress with stakeholders and on the various agreements necessary to begin what will be a moderately lengthy but most worthwhile project. My hope was to have more to offer you on the status of the project in these final programme notes of the year, but I'm electing to have a more complete report that we'll share on the official website at the appropriate time. Again, we're in a very good spot, but with more work to do. I think it will go ahead, to be honest. I think these things are just taking time. It's quite complicated, isn't it? But I understand people are anxious to get their season tickets renewed and whatnot, and those that didn't have season tickets want to buy one and they want to know where they stand. But you're just going to have to be patient. It'll all be done soon enough.
I know someone who works in the hospitality of the Fulham Riverside stand, and she's been told for the next 2 seasons that they've got to find a new hospitality venue. They were looking at one point at the Crabtree, but then obviously they've decided not to do that because absolutely, I enjoy going there myself. But I think obviously, let's say it's raining and you're like, well, let's go and enjoy the matchday hospitality, and then you have to walk for 10 minutes in the pouring rain.
To be fair, Marty, sorry to jump in there. To be fair, they do that already. There is a hospitality venue in Bishop's Park that they offer out, and you go and have your meal and drinks in there, and then you get seating in the Putney end, I think. So it's a bit strange, but they do already do that.
Yeah. So the person I know, as I say, I agree. I've heard about that. It's just that they've been said that the next 2 seasons they won't be in the Riverside stand. So as far as I know, that person hasn't been told anything new or different in regards to what's happening, which I guess is reassuring in regards that there's something about to happen or going to happen. She hasn't been told to be given the hard helmet yet, so I guess that's a good sign as well.
Yeah.
I think it's just mass panic, isn't it? We haven't heard any news. It must be bad news. We must be leaving. And then all it takes is one person to say that, and then it snowballs, and all of a sudden it's widely regarded that we're going to be. Yeah, exactly. We're going to be leaving.
Well, we're all very fragile. We're all very fragile after this season.
We are.
And so, going back to those program notes you were talking about, Frenchie. There's been some news with the contracts being extended for some certain players. I believe it's Johansson, it's Adoy, Cabano, and Aite. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, we talked about this the other week, didn't we? And said we wonder whether they would be extended, those guys. But I'm glad for one that Johansson is coming back, and that's been invoked, because I wondered whether he'd still be here and whether he'd want to still be here based on the fact that he's almost been frozen out for the whole of the season. Part of me thinks, I wonder whether it'll be the same again. If you've got a midfield next season of Kearney, Johansson, and maybe even McDonald, but if not, then Anguissa, then are we chasing after what we had last season a little bit too much, or will it still be as effective? Who knows? I can't answer my own question, but I'm pleased they're all staying, to be honest. I think they're all solid Championship players, and we need the squad. And the last thing, if we've learnt one thing from this season, it's we don't want to be shipping everybody out and starting again, because we are shipping a lot. We're doing that already. There's a lot of loan players that are going back again, so we're going to be left with the bare bones. Plus if people like Mitro and Cess maybe leave, if they do, then we're really going to be left with the bare bones. So I think it's important to keep the squad together as much as possible.
That's right, and one of the loan players being Sergio Rico, one of your favourite people. I'll sort of he's like a sort of emo version of Hugo Lloris, I was saying to you earlier, isn't he? He just looks like an angrier version, or a more upset version anyway. His PR stuff, I can't deal with it. Just the sort of the autograph thing and his own website thing, it really bugs me. I don't know why.
Yeah, I know. The watermark on his pictures, it's a little bit over art, isn't it?
It's a little bit, yeah.
You're a footballer, mate, and not a very good one, so...
Yeah, well. Marty, on to you, mate. What are your thoughts? Would you like to see Johansson back in the starting lineup next season? Bit of shithousery?
Yeah, why not? It worked before, why not again? He's doing the exact same thing at West Brom, and picking up bookings like he usually does. You're thinking yellow card, Johansson goes toe and toe, basically.
He did it at the weekend, didn't he? He did it against, who were they playing? Villa, and he went flying in on somebody, knee-height tackle. It's classic Stefan Johansson. I love it.
Yeah, exactly. And he definitely made Grealish know that he was there as well. So, yeah, lightning strike twice, with having those sort of players in there to get us back into the promised lands. But I don't know. I mean, as I say, why not? They are players at the end of the day, and they all do the job.
Yeah. And just, are we all united on the fact that we want West Brom to win the playoffs? And I'll go to you first, Mr. Boisclair, on that.
Yeah, they're the only team that I don't dislike that are in the playoffs. So, sure, I don't really care.
Fair enough.
Definitely not Derby. After we've got some history with Derby. Leeds, just nobody really likes Leeds except for Leeds and Villa. Part of me would quite like to see Villa go to Wembley and then screw it up again like last season, just because of the idiots that we encountered from their support on Twitter in the build up to the game and the and the whole ticket thing. So yeah. Well, but bottom line is I don't really care. Unless we're involved, then who cares, really?
No, fair enough. Marty, for you, is it West Brom for you as well, mate?
100% West Brom. I was so annoyed that they managed to throw a 1-0 lead and then have Boisclair sent off for a second bookable offence. I'm not denying that the first was a bookable. I mean, he got away with much, but the second yellow wasn't deserved. I did put it on the WhatsApp group, and Matt's put it as well. Villa. I mean, if you can get to again at Wembley Stadium, because he's part of it, which is great, all for it. But if they go up, we're never at the end of it. It's just been the worst ever. Leeds, they're a massive club and they don't deserve to be in the Championship, and we hear it all the time. And at the end of the day, you're down there when you're down there. And then the other team that's in there is Derby, and you've got Frank Lampard with history there, and then there is history with Derby. I mean, I wasn't old enough to go to that game with the Derby fans, but my dad has never forgotten that and has no attention for Derby whatsoever. So yeah, West Brom for me.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, you never know. Maybe Dwight Gale's second yellow has actually sped up the process of us getting in touch with his agents, and maybe it's actually a blessing in disguise for all for them. But I tell you what, look, after looking at the playoffs, I'm just like, I don't want to come up this way again. There's so much glory in it, but by God, the stress of it. I'd love to just do the top two for a change in the next few seasons' time, hopefully. All right, guys, good little chat there. And now after this, we're going to move on to more serious matters, the quiz.
Fulham.
All right, and welcome back. Now it's time for the quiz. Now, my co-host here can get a total of 20 points, or if you're listening at home, you can get 30 points. Now, round one is head-to-head. We've paired up players from our last two relegation seasons. All you need to do is tell me who made more Premier League appearances in their sides. So the maximum any player could have made is 38 appearances. You have three options. Pick either player, or you can say they played the same amount if that's what you think. All right? So I'll go to you first, Mr. Boisclair. Would you like set one or set two?
Set two.
Set two, nice. Okay. Who made more Premier League appearances out of these relegation players? Alfie Mawson or Johnny Heitinga?
Heitinga.
Unfortunately, Johnny Heitinga made less. It was 14 to Alfie Mawson's 15 appearances. So it was very, very close. Yeah. All right, next one.
Would never have said Mawson had even made double figures this season, to be honest, but fair enough.
Yeah, exactly. Kevin McDonald or Karagounis?
Karagounis.
Again, it was Kevin McDonald. Karagounis had 14 appearances and Kevin McDonald had 15 appearances. You've been absolutely played here. All right, next one. Maxime Le Marchand versus Breda Hangeland.
Hangeland.
Hangeland made less appearances. He made 23 appearances, and Maxime Le Marchand has made 26.
Did I say set two? I meant set one.
No, it's too late. Unfortunately, it's too late. Okay, so penultimate one for you. Ryan Sessegnon or Kasami? And by the way, there is an option for you. Never mind. I've given it away.
Yeah, I think they probably played the same, to be honest.
Damn it! Yeah, it's the same. It's 29 each. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's 29 each. Well done. Well done. I completely just gifted you that. All right. And the last one is, fuck's sake, Joe Bryan versus Kieran Richardson. Who had more appearances?
Kieran Richardson.
He did indeed. Kieran Richardson had 31 appearances and Joe Bryan has had 28 appearances. So that is two. Should be one, but it's two. And right, Marty, I'm going to go to you now, sir. So you have got set one, and I'll go to you with the first one is Lewis Holtby versus Ryan Babel. Who made more?
I'm going to say Lewis Holtby.
Lewis Holtby had 13 to Ryan Babel's 16 appearances, I'm afraid. All right, next one is Andre Schürrle versus Darren Bent.
Andre Schürrle.
It is a tie. It is Andre Schürrle 24 and Darren Bent has 24, unfortunately, sir. All right, so Tom Kearney versus Scott Parker.
Oh, my God. I'm going to say Tom Kearney.
You are absolutely right. Tom Kearney has 31 appearances to Scott Parker's 29 appearances. All right. Alexander Mitrovic versus Steve Sidwell.
Oh, jeez. I'm going to say Mitrovic.
Incorrect, I'm afraid. Mitrovic, 37 appearances. Steve Sidwell, 38 appearances.
God
it's pretty
damn
close.
it.
Danny's done a good job. Danny's done a really good job here. All right, okay. Last one. Cyrus Christie versus Sasha Reether.
Sasha Reether.
You are absolutely right. Sasha Reether had 31 appearances to Cyrus Christie's 28. All right, guys, this is nice. So from that round, you all have 2 each. Excellent. So round 2 is back and forth. You have 5 guesses each. So here we go. Round 2, back and forth. Fulham are relegated. Have been for several weeks now, which means it's old news. So what I want you to do is to name the top 10 oldest players to score for Fulham in the Premier League era. Okay? So I need you to name the top 10 oldest scorers for Fulham in the Premier League era. And I will go to you first, Marty.
Karagounis.
Karagounis is second on the list. He is, with 35 years of age, 313 days old. He is number 2 in the top 10. Very good. And to you, Mr. Boisclair.
All right, I'm going to say Brian McBride.
Brian McBride is number 1 on the list. 35 years and 319 days old. Very good. And back to you, Marty.
Ooh. I'm going to say Berbatov.
Berbatov is 10th on the list. You got it. Just 32 years old, 32 years, 336 days old. Very good. All right, and back to you, Mr. Boisclair.
What about Ian Pearce?
Ooh, Ian Pearce. Calling Ian Pearce. Ian Pearce is not on the list because Ian Pearce is number 11. You missed it by 8 days. That was close, but no cigar, I'm afraid. Ian Pearce was number 11. He missed by 8 days younger than Dimitar Berbatov. All right, cool. And to you, Marty.
Right. I'm trying to think of another player. I'm going to say Hangeland.
Hangeland is not on the list, I'm afraid. Not even in the 6 after that. So I'm afraid no points for you there, Marty. And to you, Mr. Boisclair.
I'm struggling to even think of anyone. Philippe Christenval. No idea how old he was.
Okay. Philippe Christenval is not on the list either. Mr. Marty, over to you.
I can't remember. I'm going to go with Hugo Rodallega.
Hugo Rodallega is not in the top 10, I'm afraid. Sorry, Marty. And go back to you, Mr. Boisclair.
What about Montella?
Montella, I'm afraid, is 12th on the list and not in the top 10 either. He is just after Ian Pearce. You're not close enough, I'm afraid, sir. Marty, next to you. This is your final guess.
I'm going to go with Damien Duff.
Damien Duff, calling Damien Duff. Damien Duff is 5th on the list. Exactly so. You get a point there. He is 33 years old and 205 days. Okay, and for you, Mr. Boisclair, final guess.
Sidwell.
Steve Sidwell, calling Steve Sidwell. Steve Sidwell is not on the list. So, right, so Marty has got 3 in that round, and Boisclair, you have got 1. But I'll read out the other ones you could have got for that. So, you could have got Danny Murphy, who was 34 years old and 309 days old, number 3. Andy Cole, 33 years old, 213 days old, number 4. And with number 6, you could have got Bjarni Goldbeck, 33 years and 199 days old. Number 7 could have been Mark Pembridge, 33 years and 112 days old. Number 8, you could have had Scott Parker, 33 years and 74 days old. Number 9, you could have had Thomas Radzitsky, 33 years and 30 days old. And you got Dimitar Berbatov, was number 10. And you could then had Eric Neveland after Montella. You could have had Brian Babel, Alexei Smertin, and Lee Clark. All right, guys, final round coming up now. And this is Guess the Player, the last round before we leave the show. Okay, so you know the rules. It's Guess the Player. I list out the facts to you, And 1 to 2, you get 5 points. 3 to 4, you get 4 points. 5 or 6, 3 points, so on and so forth. Okay? You just call out when you think you've got it.
How many do I need to win?
Exactly so. So you at the moment are on 3 points, and Marty is on 5 points. So it's in your favor to actually go as early as you can. All right? So here we go. Guess the player. Fact number 1. This player played under 4 Fulham managers. Fact number 2. He made 69 appearances in all competitions. 62 of them were starts. You are out of the 5-point zone. Okay. Fact number 3. He played in the top 2 divisions for Fulham. Fact number 4. He signed for Fulham as a teenager. You're out the 4-point zone. Fact number 5. He scored twice in a Fulham shirt, both times in the Championship. Ooh. Fact number 6. He is a Premier League player. Okay. You are out another zone here. Fact number 7. He is English. Fact number 8. He turned 27 years old last week. Oh, guys. Fact number 9. It's actually quite well written, this one. Is that you, Marty?
Yeah, it was.
I'm going to pause you there. Fact number 9. This player is 6'7" tall.
Ah.
Okay. Yeah. Fact number 10. You sure about this, Boisclair? You may as well keep going.
Yeah, I don't know.
Doesn't matter. Fact number 10. He isn't a right back and should never be played there.
Dan Burn.
Dan Burn. Cool. Take a bow. So I think we'll leave it there. I think because no one really got that at all. So final scores for that are Marty has 5 points and Mr. Boisclair has 3 points. Very good. And for Marty, for your prize, I have nothing on me at all. I have a copy of FIFA 16. You can have that and see what the Fulham squad's like from that if you want. You can just play on that whenever you fancy it. But yeah.
Aces. Brilliant. Love it. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome, mate. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for talking to me. Thank you all for listening at home. We have a show up next week, which will be a season roundup. If you like what you hear, please subscribe to us and please tell your friends about us. We're on Spotify, Apple iTunes, all that kind of thing. And thank you very much for bearing with us through this horrible season. Thank God it's all over, and we'll speak to you very soon over the summer with transfer speculation and more fun and games like that. But for now, come on, you Whites. Thank you very much.